Okie dokie. Happy Friday. Welcome to the Mystic Path. We're gonna do a November energy update. I've been called to come on here and do it. My cat Watson is in here with us as well, so he's very vocal, so you might hear some meows in the background. He likes to be involved. So we'll let him, won't we, Bubba? Okay, so I felt called to come on here because, well, for several reasons. I feel like it's time for an energy update. And also because I'm in the States, and in the States right now, there is a lot of anxiety and stress because our election is still going on. They're still counting all the votes, and it's a very tight race, so the collective energy is very tense. So I just kind of wanted to come on here and pull a couple cards for the November energy update. I've already called in all my guides and any other spirits who want to contribute to this for the collective. I'm gonna pull a couple of cards here from the Secret Language of Light and the Energy Oracle deck, just for this quick energy update here, and then I will be doing some other readings for the channel, so if you want a long in-depth card reading, check out the channel, okay? Before we get started, I do want to say that I've noticed a few things. We're only 6 days into November. And I've already noticed some things about the energy, so I just kind of wanted to mention it. What I'm noticing is this month, we're really going to have to protect our energy. We're really going to have to be mindful and conscious and make sure we're going to have to work a little harder to not get pulled in to any conflict, negativity, any aggression, right? There's a lot of people this month that have yet to really face themselves and do their emotional work. You know, we've talked about before on this channel how the year of 2020 was kind of about that. It's a mirroring number. We're being forced to face a lot of things in society that we have been ignoring. Climate change, racism, healthcare, the list goes on. The class system, you know, a whole lot of things that society has been ignoring, addressing. And, you know, the universe is not going to allow that anymore. So that's kind of what all of this pandemic and all of the crazy weather and all the stuff happening here, social unrest, all of those things have been happening here in 2020 because the universe is not messing around anymore. If you have not faced yourself, your issues, you know, society is just a reflection of like what goes on in the individuals, right? So the reason society is so full of unrest and stress and chaos this year is because there are so many people on this planet that haven't done any emotional work, haven't grown at all emotionally. Right? And that's the reason we're here, is to grow emotionally and evolve. And if a lot of people don't do that, a lot of people run away from their issues and they don't want to face themselves, because facing yourself can be hard. And I know, because from experience, I've done it. I have spent years in therapy working on myself, my issues, trying to be better, right? And, in the beginning especially, it's very difficult. It feels like a roller coaster that's going a million miles an hour, and you're just barely holding on, flying out of the back, right? Your legs are flying out of the back like a cartoon in the beginning, because it's overwhelming to have to face yourself and face your issues and admit your flaws and then love yourself anyway despite your flaws, right? So as you can tell by the way people are behaving nowadays, punching each other over masks, fighting over politics, everybody's just in so much trauma and pain from their own personal issues, and it's because they're not working on them and facing them and healing them, they are just overwhelmed. So then they spew all that energy out into the collective, all the energy of sadness, trauma, aggression, violence, frustration, and the list could go on with that too as well. I could go on and on, but I won't. So one of the things I've noticed over the past week or so is that for those of us that have done the work and continue to do the work, that are in alignment and balanced, just existing this month, that's gonna trigger the crap out of people who haven't done any emotional work and haven't grown emotionally. We have a lot of people on this planet that are like age-wise in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, but emotionally they're still in their teenage years and 20s because they never grew emotionally. They never faced themselves and their issues, right? So that's what I've been noticing personally. It's almost like the more balanced and in alignment I am, the more I trigger those who are not, just by existing, right? Because it's like they look at the people in alignment and the people that are not living in crazy chaos throughout this time, the people who are calm and able to handle themselves emotionally. And when I say handle yourself emotionally, I basically just mean knowing when to walk away, right? If somebody's yelling at you and name calling you and not even letting you get a word in, they're in no place to be able to hear anything you're saying, right? So when you're emotionally balanced and in alignment, you can recognize that for what it is, and you understand, I'm not even going to waste my breath here trying to have a conversation with this person on this topic, because they're not in an emotional place where they can hear anything I'm saying or receive any of the information I'm giving them, right? So in those situations, sometimes it's better to walk away and just, let them be in their trauma. And that also is triggering for those people, right? Because if your emotions are out of control and overwhelming you, part of the spewing it out onto everyone is because you're crying for help. That's a cry for help in a subconscious way. And so you want the attention. You want somebody to say to you, I see you're hurting, I hear you're hurting, I feel you, I understand, right? But if somebody walks away from you and is like, I'm gonna let you calm down, and then we can talk, that can be triggering for that other person, because the whole reason they're spewing all of this negativity onto you is because they're crying out for your help and your attention. But that's not the time. You can't always help somebody when they're in that state of mind. And sometimes you're not supposed to, right? Sometimes people have to learn things on their own. That's why, you can talk to somebody about the same issue over and over again and they never get it or they never change their behavior. It's because until they learn for themselves that lesson, they're not going to be able to integrate it, right? So the advice coming in right now from Spirit for November is, if you are somebody who is very angry and stressed and tense, and violent, or you feel like you want to lash out onto people, that actually happened to me this week. Just minding my own business, doing my own thing. All of a sudden I look at my phone and I have like a whole huge amount of rage texts. And luckily for me, because I'm in alignment, because I've had so much therapy and I've done so much emotional work, I recognized it for what it was. I understood, okay, this person is hurting, and again, the text had nothing to do with me. They weren't even mad at me for anything. It was just they're mad at the world in general, and they needed to spew that out somewhere, right? And in that situation, if you're in alignment and emotionally balanced, you're going to be able to see it for what it is, which is this person is obviously deep in pain and trauma, and they can't, they're on autopilot, I guess. Their subconscious is running the show. They can't be mindful because there's too much going on in their head of all these things they've ignored for years, right? Because you can't ignore your emotional issues. They don't go away. They just compound because they grow bigger and bigger in our minds. So, I stayed in alignment. I responded with kindness. I had compassion, but I also set boundaries because that's very important. Just because we've done our work and we're in emotional alignment and stable and balanced, that's not an invitation to be the dumping ground for people or to be the punching bag, right? So I had to set a boundary and say, I'm not your dumping ground. You need to calm down and not be spewing all of your frustration all over me. And, it was actually very effective. And then this person and I had actually a very long conscious discussion. But it doesn't always go that way, right? There's somebody else in my life who they get into that rage mode, and you can't even rebroach the topic for a couple days, okay? So, people are different. So you have to use your discernment and judge each situation when you're in it as you can. Like, am I going to be able to get through to this person or talk this person down or calm this person down? If so, then let's have a mindful, conscious, kind, compassionate conversation, right? Because what we were just saying is people that are doing that, it's a cry for help. So you need to meet them with kindness, compassion, understanding. Yet keep firm boundaries, right? Because you can't let that stuff into your experience. So that's why boundaries are so important. Like, I didn't let that ruin my day because I'm not going to give somebody else that kind of power over my day and my experience in life, right? So I just wanted to mention that because it's happened to a few other people I know as well that are in alignment and have done a lot of work on themselves. So I just wanted to mention that this is a good month. Make sure you're protecting your own energy, however you want to do that. Crystals, salt baths, meditations, protection spells, whatever it is. And be very mindful. Because this month, no matter what happens in this election, it's such a tight race. So 50% of the population in America is gonna be on the side that didn't win, correct? So no matter who wins, no matter what the final count is, there's gonna be half of the country needing to have to learn to cope with a result that they didn't want, right? So I just wanted to, quickly talk about that. Protect your energy, keep your boundaries, be mindful, and use your discernment. Because sometimes you're going to end up in a situation like I was in the other day, and you're going to need to walk away from the situation. Because some people are so deep in their own victimhood and trauma that they can't even see that they're disrespecting the boundaries you've set. And again, setting boundaries can be very triggering for people that are used to getting their way, right? So let's just keep those things in mind. And then we're going to pull a couple of cards here just to see what's going to be going on in November. Let's see, what is the energy going to be like for the month of November? What is the energy for November? Okay. Okay, so at the bottom of the deck, which is the underlying issue, is deceit. And this card, deceit, doesn't necessarily mean lying, but it could mean lying. But it's also just kind of an energy of like manipulation, okay? So let's keep that in mind. There's going to be an undertone of manipulative energy, deceitful energy in the next month. We also have here the thinking man, rest and rejuvenation, angel of balance, door to value, and caring connections. Okay. So okay, I have two messages coming in here. For some people this month, probably the people earlier I was speaking about who are in alignment, this month, for the people who are in alignment and have been doing their emotional work, are going to kind of experience this kind of a month. Going to be spending a lot of time with friends and family and the people in your life you care about. You're going to be resting and rejuvenating, recovering from all of this stress, anxiety, and tension that's been going on this last week. But you're going to have to work hard to stay balanced. So if you can stay balanced, for one group, the message is, if you can stay balanced, you're going to have a lot of good energies to rejuvenate, rest. You're going to be able to spend time with the people you love and who love you. And it could be a very, I'm not feeling like excitement or celebratory kinds of emotions. what I'm feeling is like relief. Okay? So I feel like for the next month, for the people who are in alignment and have been doing their work, you're going to start to feel some of these heavier energies dissipate from your aura. And you're going to start to feel more balanced, and you're going to be able to rest and recover from all of the heaviness that we've just come from. Because like the month of October, and especially the last couple weeks of October, were very, very heavy. We had those 2 full moons, so that's part of it. So I feel like that's for half of you. The other half of you here have the thinking man and door to value. And what I'm hearing right here is this month, those of you who have yet to face yourself and have yet to really go and start doing the deep work that is needed to like heal all those triggers and traumas and bad patterns, you're gonna really be forced this month to face yourself and to think about, what is it I value in life? What are my morals? What I keep hearing integrity. Where am I lacking in integrity? Or maybe you don't have integrity at all, some of you. And you're really going to have to start thinking and evaluating and reflecting on your life. And you're really going to have to start asking yourself the hard questions. Like, what is it I value? What I'm seeing, I'm being drawn to on this card, there's like money falling. And I keep being shown this money in my mind, and standing next to it is like a family. Okay? So what I'm interpreting that to mean is that there's a lot of you this month that are really going to be forced to reflect, forced to face yourself, and to figure out, do I value stuff over people? Do I put money before the duties with my family or my friends or my spouse or partner or children? I feel like that's half of you this month are not yet ready to move into this like balance and healing, because you have yet to do the deep thinking that needs to be done to decide, to figure out who are you, and to decide what will I accept and what won't I accept, right? Because what I'm hearing is a lot of you have accepted. Okay, I don't know, one of my guides is being funny or somebody Irish is here because they're saying like a lot of you are going to have to face the fact that what you've been accepting in your life is shit. That's what I keep hearing. Shit. It's shit. And it's time now. It is time to face yourself and start asking yourself these questions. Why do I accept this? What are the things that are most important to me? And am I standing in integrity with those things? Or are my values and morals wishy-washy because money is more important? That's what I'm hearing. What I'm hearing is there's a lot of you that are going to have to finally face and decide what's more important to you. Love, compassion, harmony with your loved ones and the people around you, or money? Because I feel that's what I'm hearing. Many people still put money over everything else, and that's just crazy. Come on, people, that's just crazy. Money doesn't keep you warm. Money doesn't lovingly hug you or comfort you when you're down. And if it does, then you need to evaluate that and figure out, why does an inanimate object have that much power over me? Why does that take precedence over relationships in my life, or caring connections? I just heard. Okay, so I feel like it's pretty clear. The messages are pretty clear. So I want to get an advice card, since there are two groups here that I felt like messages were coming for two groups. Let's get an advice card for both groups. Okay. So, what is the advice for group one? What is the advice for group one? Manifestation. That's a good one. Okay. And let's give it one more shuffle. What is the advice for group two? Whoa, okey-dokey. Group two. We got some jumpers here, and 4 cards came out, which would make sense because if you haven't been doing your work here in group two, you probably need a little bit more advice, right? So we've got nourish, create space, soul love, and enlightenment. Okay, and this message is strong coming in right now. So we're going to do the advice for group 2 first, okay? So here in the second group, group 2, where we were talking about, it's really time for you to start reflecting and figuring out what your morals and values are, and then deciding what your boundaries are. What are you willing to accept and what aren't you willing to accept? You know, when we love ourselves, we will not accept abuse or bad behavior from somebody else, because I know, for example, I know what I have to offer, and I know what I have to offer somebody is valuable. So if you're taking advantage of me or not treating me the way that I feel I should be treated, I am not staying around for that, because I understand my value, right? And my value is high. So I don't have to accept all this nonsense from somebody. Okay? So I feel like what this is saying is kind of what I was already saying. You need to get in touch. You need to create the space that you can start to get in touch with your soul. And then when you're in touch with your soul, you need to start asking yourself those hard questions and doing the work. And that's what this nourishment's about. Because when I go to therapy, it's sometimes the best hour of my week, okay? And because when I leave there, I just feel amazing and I feel nourished because I'm taking care of myself emotionally and mentally, right? So then I feel good because it's like I've made myself a priority. So what this is saying is, if you can create the space to connect to your soul and nourish it and listen to the messages your soul gives you, you can find enlightenment and you can get on the path to happiness and balance, like these people here in group 1. Totally balanced. Look at this. Both of these people, look at them. Just balanced, serene, enjoying life. And the advice that this group 1 got here is manifestation, which makes perfect sense, because when you're in this amazing place of calm, peace, unconditional love, okay, it's really easy to manifest the things you desire out of life. But when you're in this up here, group 2, this trauma state of avoiding and running from your issues, you can't manifest anything. And that just makes your life even harder, right? Because if you can't manifest money to support yourself, or happiness or any of that, if you can't manifest that stuff, then you just feel worse, right? Because you feel like, why is everything going wrong? Why is nothing working out for me? But that might be part of the issue. What I'm hearing is your ego convinces you everything's about you. When you can start doing your soul work and looking at yourself objectively and loving yourself objectively, unconditionally, no matter what your flaws are, that's when you really get in a space where nobody can shake your foundation, and then you're full of balance and manifesting everything you desire. Okay? So I'm going to end it there because the messages are very clear. Again, for November, what we're kind of hearing is like there's a group of you, there's like half of you are going to be balanced, manifesting your best life and feeling the peace, the calm, the unconditional love. And then the other half of you who have not faced yourself and haven't done your work, you're going to be, I'm hearing you're going to be forced to do the work. Okay? And I feel like this is saying, now that we've gotten these messages, you know that you're going to have to do the work. So the advice is you need to grab the bull by the horns and don't let the universe force you to your knees to surrender. Start on your own, creating the space to connect to your soul, to nourish it, to grow, and then you can start reaching the enlightened state, which, group 1, good job over here, group 1. Because you guys are in a very great state, especially considering what's going on in the energies in the collective. So, all right, so I'm going to leave it there for this reading. Check out the channel for any other readings you want to see. I'm going to put a few more up there today. So you have a wonderful rest of your day, weekend, or week, and I'm wishing you all the love and light. Namaste.